Today, I'm going to be telling you guys exactly what my credit card strategy is going into 2025. Let's jump straight into it by showing you exactly what cards I have and how much they're earning. So first, I have the Amazon Prime Visa. This card earns me 5% back on every single one of my purchases from Amazon. I then have the Discover It card that gives me 5% back in rotating categories. I then have the American Express that gives me 4 points back on restaurants and groceries. And then I have the PayPal debit card that's giving me 5% back in gas. So the card that's going to be most used in my wallet going into 2025 is the American Express Gold card. I got this card back in October, and the primary reason that I got it is because it was offering 100,000 points as a sign-up bonus, as well as a $100 statement credit for dining. To hit that sign-up bonus, I had to spend $6,000 within 6 months, which I actually just hit this month. A couple weeks ago, my mom was buying a car, and she had to put a down payment on it, so I was like, hey, do you want to just use my American Express Gold, and then Zelle me what you put down as a down payment? That way I can earn points and then hit the sign-up bonus, and that's exactly what we did. So I now have 100,000 membership rewards points on their way to my account right now. The plan for this card was to never really have it in my wallet long term. I'm thinking in about 2 years is when I'm going to cancel or downgrade it. It's going to depend on how long it takes me to spend those 100,000 points and also what other credit cards I add to my wallet. And also if they give me some kind of a retention offer. A lot of times when you go to cancel a credit card, especially with American Express's cards, if you go and send a chat to the customer service and explain to them that the card's not really making sense in your wallet, but you want another year to decide, a lot of times they'll give you something called a retention offer, and they'll give you some kind of statement credit or extra points to help you offset that fee. Overall, the American Express card has been pretty good for me. At first, I love using the physical card. I would carry it around and use it everywhere just because I liked the feel of the metal card, but that honestly goes away pretty quickly. It's kind of like when you get a new car and at first you're like super excited about it, but then after like a month, it feels like you're driving any other car. The rewards with this card are killer. You earn 4 points back on dining, 4 points back on groceries, 3 points on flights booked through Amex Travel, and then 1 point on everything else. The main reason that I'm using this card is for the 4 points back on dining and groceries, since I don't have another card in my wallet that's giving me that right now. And American Express's points are worth a lot more than other credit card points. They're valued at around 2 cents per point. If you were to convert that to cashback value, you'd be getting the equivalent to 8% cash back when you use it for dining and groceries, as long as you know how to transfer the points out and use them for maximum value. But my problem with this card is the annual fee and the statement credits. So currently it has a $325 annual fee, which might sound like a lot to you if you're newer to credit cards, and it is. It does have some statement credits to help offset that, but honestly, the statement credits aren't that good. It has $120 for Uber Gold, and then another $120 for a dining credit. This dining credit has to be used at Grubhub, Cheesecake Factory, Goldbelly, Wine.com, Five Guys. My personal favorite is Grubhub. And the way that I use these is just placing a pickup order at pretty much any restaurant that I want through the Uber or Grubhub app. That way I don't have to pay any delivery fees. They also added a new $7 a month Dunkin' credit and then $50 statement credit for Resi restaurants. So my first problem with these statement credits are none of them are true statement credits. The way I look to see if a statement credit's actually valuable for me or not is if it already automatically replaces something that I'm already spending money on. So if you look at a card like the Chase Sapphire Preferred or the Venture X, those give you true travel credits. All you have to do is book travel or a hotel through them and you instantly get the statement credit. But with the American Express Gold, these statement credits are more like coupons in my opinion. The only ones that are okay are those dining credits that total $240 that I just talked about, and even those are a little bit annoying. I had to go in the app and place mobile orders, and I also didn't use the semi-annual $50 Resi credit for this half of the year. And that's because the restaurants just aren't that good. A couple weeks ago, I was going to use it. I went down to LA to watch the Denver Broncos lose to the Chargers, unfortunately. But after the game, I got hungry, so I was looking for somewhere to eat, and all the places were trash. Most of them were expensive, and it wasn't even that good food, so I just went to an Applebee's instead. All that's to say is that the only useful statement credits on this card is the $240 dining credits, which brings my effective annual fee down to $85. If I'm valuing the American Express points at 2 cents per point, I would have to spend $1,062 to break even. If I was to compare that to a no annual fee cashback card like the Citi Custom Cash that earns me 5% back on dining, after $2,833, I would then start getting more value than that no annual fee cashback credit card. And I do spend more than that on dining and groceries per year. So right now it is making sense for me to hold the American Express Gold in my wallet. But in the next couple years, I want to complete the Capital One Duo that has the Saver card, which will probably end up replacing the Amex Gold because it has no annual fee. But for me, the American Express Gold is still the MVP of my wallet wallet, so it's going to be here for a couple years. Okay, so moving on to the next card that I have in my wallet, I have the Discover It card. This card gives me 5% back in rotating categories, and in the first year, they double all the cash back that I get, so I'm essentially getting 10% back. I've almost had this card for a full year now, and I got an email a couple of days ago letting me know that my 10% cash back is ending on January 13th. This next category coming up is going to be restaurants, home improvement stores, and then streaming services. I don't pay for any streaming services, and I don't have a home to improve, so the only relevant category for me is restaurants. Now, I only have 13 days where it makes sense to use this card, because after that, it'll just drop to 5% cash back, and I'd rather use my American Express Gold for dining at that point. Really, the only restaurants or fast food places that I go is Chipotle and then Cafe Rio, so if I really wanted to, I could go and buy a bunch of gift cards for the rest of the year, and then it'd essentially be like I'm earning 10% cash back on that, but I don't really like the idea of going and buying gift cards. I'd rather just use my American Express Gold instead of tracking a bunch of gift cards. Moving on to the third credit card in my wallet, I have the Amazon Prime Visa. If you watch my channel before, you know this is one of my favorite cards. It automatically gives me 5% back on all my Amazon purchases, and I tend to buy a lot of things on Amazon. You can just open it up, put it in your sock drawer, and then not have to think about it. Last quarter, this card didn't get a lot of use in my wallet because I was still in that first year of my Discover It card, and that card was giving me 10% back on Amazon, but my Amazon Prime Visa is back in the lineup and ready to go. The Amazon Prime Visa does give you 5% back on Whole Foods and then Amazon Fresh too, but those places are really overpriced and not really worth it. It also gives me 2% back on gas stations, local commuting, and transit, and then 1% back on everything else. But I'm not really going to be taking advantage of those other reward categories because my other credit cards are already rewarding me better in those categories. Also, one thing that I'll add in is I really do love the design of this card. Not a lot of people know this, but it's actually a metal card and it's really sturdy. I accidentally just threw it in the washer the other day and it came out looking brand new. So it's a very sturdy card, unlike this Discover card, which is already like peeling and stuff. It's about to fall apart. And that's going to lead me to the last card in my wallet, which is going to be the PayPal debit card. This is a card that flies under a lot of people's radar because most people assume that debit cards aren't going to give them any rewards. However, this PayPal debit card actually gives you better rewards than most credit cards do because it allows you to earn 5% back in either restaurants, clothing, health and beauty, or gas. And you're going to earn 5% back up to $1,000 in spend. And that's actually a really generous spend limit right there. If you look at a popular card like the Citi Custom Cash that also rewards you with 5% back in your top spend category, that's limited to $500 in spend a month. So a lot of people spend more than that on groceries, and that kind of limits the use of the Citi Custom Cash. But with the PayPal debit card, you're getting a really healthy rewards limit. It's one of the best cards out right now for gas because it doesn't have a limit. Also, it does give me rewards at Costco gas because it's a debit card. If you do get your gas at Costco, you've probably seen that they only take Visa. So that limits some other gas credit cards like the Citi Custom Cash because that's a MasterCard and Costco won't accept it. There's really only two real downsides to this card. The first is that it has limited purchase protection. So if you need to dispute a transaction, then you might have a little bit of trouble with that. And also it does come with a spend account, so funding it up can be a little bit annoying sometimes. But overall, I think this is a great card that can fit into pretty much anyone's wallet. One of the biggest holes in my setup right now is I don't have a catch-all 2% back credit card or a card that I'm chasing a sign-up bonus on, so my miscellaneous spend isn't really being put to use right now. And my initial plan was to get the Venture X because that's a great premium travel credit card. It gives you lounge access. It pretty much pays for itself. And then eventually adding the Saver card to replace my American Express Gold. And the Citi Strata Premier, which gives me a huge sign-up bonus, and then getting a custom cash, downgrading that original Citi Strata Premier to another custom cash, so I have two custom caches, getting the flagship card for the huge sign-up bonus, and then seeing where to go next from there. And that's still mostly my roadmap for 2025, but I added one change, and that's that before I enact that plan, I'm going to get the Chase Sapphire Preferred. The reason why is that one, it's a great credit card. It gives you 3 points back on dining, and Chase has some of the best transfer partners. But the big reason why I'm getting this card before all the other ones is because there's something called the Chase 524 rule. This is a rule on Chase's credit cards where they're automatically going to deny you if you've opened up more than 5 credit cards in the last 24 months. And right now I've opened up 4 credit cards in the last 24 months. So if I get another credit card before the Chase Sapphire Preferred, I won't be able to get the Chase Sapphire Preferred, and I won't be under 524 for probably a couple years. So after I get the CSP, I'm probably going to downgrade it to the Freedom Flex just because it's no annual fee, and that way I can hit the sign-up bonus again on the Sapphire Preferred in a couple years. But I'm going to wait a couple months until Chase has an elevated offer. Usually a couple times a year, they up their 60,000 point sign-up bonus to 80,000 points. So as soon as they do that, I'll hop on it. They had an elevated offer last February, so if they do add an elevated sign-up bonus, you're probably going to see a Watch Me Apply video pretty soon on my channel. The PayPal debit card's super underrated, so if you want to learn more about that, you can click this video here. I'll see you guys next time.